Hey everyone, today for dinner my mother and I are going to make a very popular dish that we normally make during the summer months, but you can certainly make it throughout the year using your stovetop. So today we're making Filipino barbecue. You can find this in many variations online, but this is how we make our barbecue. You can also add your own seasonings and your own measurements, but I want to show you how just the iLogs make it. And so we're gonna make it today. So I do have a new barbecue grill that I'll be showing you, and we're also going to do a quick shopping trip to make this dish. So let's go shopping. We need some lemons for this dish. These are pretty small. These are small too. And then we have the loose ones which look a little bit larger. So we're going to get these. And it's 5 for $3, so not terrible. So I'll get some lemons. Pork shoulder or pork butt is normally what you want to look for. This one has a lot of fat in it, as well as the skin, which we're not going to use. So I did find an alternative. So there's two different kinds here. You have the pork loin boneless rib end. So it's a rib end, there's no bone in at all. This one is $2.49 a pound. This one is $3.49 a pound. So I'm trying to make this a cheaper dish. You can find this in pretty much any grocery store. So that's why if you can't find the pork butt or the pork shoulder in those big sizes, then you can get this as well. This is a little bit like leaner kind of piece of meat, but it will still work out. All right, so I just found a better option. This is $1.99 a pound. This is pork in pork butt sliced, southern style for barbecue. So this is just perfect. This has a good amount of fat in it. There's a little bit of bone, but that's fine. We can just cut that out. And it's only $1.99 a pound. So I'm going to put the other meat back and get this one instead. All right, so we already have the soy sauce. I'm looking for oyster sauce. They might not have it here, unfortunately. That one, I may have to go to my specialty store. You don't necessarily have to have oyster sauce. It's just something that my family prefers or we like. So that's an option. You can try any other sauces here if you want. But oyster sauce has that kind of like rich, sweet and salty, savory kind of taste. And I would highly recommend to buy that if you can find it. All right, so she said that there are inventory. She said there's 11. You might not find 11, you might find a few, but I didn't see any. So we're going back to this aisle to see if we can find at least one bottle. That's all we need. All right, so I almost gave up on trying to find the oyster sauce, but this is a brand. So Cami oyster sauce, you can use a different brand if you prefer. Normally the bottles are a lot larger, like in this size, but this is the only one I can find. They also had the Kikkoman brand, but I did not find it here. They had a lot of teriyaki sauce though. In addition, if you don't have like all the ingredients that I'm using, I'm sure you can just find any other like sauces here to try out. All right, so I was able to find the Kikkoman brand, and this one is only $1.99. I am familiar with the Kikkoman brand, so I know this is going to taste good, and it is at a cheaper value. So I'm going to, or inexpensive price, I should say, not cheaper value, but I'm going to swap out this and put the kami back. But definitely ask your customer service to see if they have it, and they'll tell you. So if they don't have like a huge stock, you may not find it, but she told me there's 11. So I just had to kind of keep looking through the sauces here, and I did find it. This is another ingredient that we use. You can see some recipes use this as well. So it's either ginger ale, 7-Up, Canada Dry, whatever you want, but we like to use Schweppes ginger ale. It does have a nice strong ginger flavor. And if you can't find this, or if you don't want to use this, you don't have to. You can also add Coke if you want. But, you know, again, many variations to this dish. All right, here are the ingredients you will need for the barbecue sauce. So you need black pepper, you need fresh lemon, brown sugar, fresh garlic. We just crushed this in a mortar and pestle, You need some good Kikkoman soy sauce. You can use coconut aminos if that's what you like and that's what you have. You need some form of a ginger ale or Coke, and then you need some oyster sauce. So very like basic ingredients, and we're just gonna eyeball this for now. I'm gonna try my best to put some measurements in the comments below. Here's all the meat that I purchased today. It's about 12 pounds of meat, including the bone. And what I'm planning to do is I'm going to separate the bone into one bowl and then meat in the other. I will leave a little bit meat on the bone, and that can be for another dish not included into this video. The rest of the meat will be used for a marinade. And just to let you know, pork can be a little bit smelly, so I did clean this really well with a good amount of salt. I rubbed each piece with a heavy amount of salt and then rinse them out really well. I have this in a colander to drain the extra liquid so it doesn't get too watery, and we want that marinade to really soak into the meat. You can cut the beef in about a 1-inch cube size. My mom, on the other hand, she prefers to cut it in a butterfly shape, so she'll take that cube size of beef and she'll slice it to about 80% of the way. She will lay it flat so it is a lot easier to place into the skewer, and then it will cook more evenly because it's about the same thickness, and it'll cook a lot faster because it is thinner. But you can also cut the excess fat if you don't want to. And what we do with the bone part, if you're wondering, we will use that into making soup. So this meat is not wasted, and if you don't prefer this cut of meat, you can always choose a different cut of meat, but just make sure it has an even amount of fat so that way when it cooks on the grill, it won't dry up. Okay, so my mom's ready to rock and roll with her sauce. We have a bowl over here. We have our soy sauce. She says that she may not need to add any extra salt because I rinsed the meat pretty heavily in salt. So she's gonna actually saute some on the side before mixing it in. So anyway, she's gonna get started and we're just gonna watch her because she does her thing. She doesn't do any precise measurements. So far, that's half a cup of soy sauce. You have to add another lemon. I think you need to get it more tart. So far, we added 1 full lemon, so the other half. We added about another 2 tablespoons of light brown sugar, so maybe about 5 tablespoons. And then my mom's going to add some more oyster sauce. This is for a big batch of meat. You can always reduce this and go by taste. But I would say you can always add more lemon because it gives it more tartness and it will stay fresher. All right, so we have our table cleaned up. We have this big container that we're going to put our marinated meat in. She's just going to mix the sauce in here well, and then we're gonna pour everything in. She says she doesn't want to mix it in here because it's gonna get messy, and I totally agree. So here's the sauce. We're gonna pour the whole entire sauce in there. Ooh, that's a lot. And you don't have to cook as much as we are doing right now. This is because we have a family of actually 8 with my mom. So that's why we're cooking a lot. And my kids love to eat the barbecue, and my husband as well. He can eat 3 or 4 in a sitting. All right, so we have the barbecue soaking for about maybe 45 minutes, almost 1 hour. We just put in the barbecue sticks and let it soak in here into the water. So when we do cook the barbecue, it doesn't get burnt up so easily. All right, so before we put the barbecue onto the skewers, we're gonna do a little test run. My mom's gonna cook a piece of the meat just to make sure it tastes okay, because this is going to be the final time that we can make adjustments to the taste and to the flavor of the barbecue. All right, so this one piece is done. We did brown it on both sides, and it's pretty tender, you know, considering that we didn't marinate it that long. You can see that the skewer went into the meat pretty easily. The way you cut the meat doesn't have to be like in a cube form. You can actually slice them thin. You can actually like cut them like butterfly cut them, where you cut them just about maybe about 80% of the way, so the meat stays flat and thin. So it really is up to you. If you cut it thinner, it's obviously going to cook faster. But some of the meats are cut this way, like cubed form here, and some of them are like butterflies. So let's go give this one a taste. Ooh. It's a little underdone. It's a little pink on the inside. It's actually pretty good. We didn't marinate this for long, so considering we didn't marinate that long, it does have a good amount of flavor in here, and we are going to baste it as well. With the amount of meat we're cooking, this will definitely feed a family of 4 to 5, about 2, maybe even 3 times. I would say 3 times easy, but we're a family of 8 right now, so this is going to feed us maybe a little over once. If you're going to freeze this, which you can freeze this on the stick, then just put everything on the stick and then freeze it that way. I think that's easier than just putting the meat into the freezer. So yeah, so let's get this done. All right, so we're done putting all the meat on the skewers. It doesn't really take that long between 2 people. It's better if this meat was marinating overnight because it really makes the meat tender and flavorful, but because of our time constraints, we're just gonna go ahead and cook it. Now, as for the sauce, my mom is cooking on the stove, so that way we can use it as a basting sauce and it's not going to be like a raw sauce. You can actually put the sauce on top of the barbecue towards the end, so that way all the bacteria is cooked out. So that's another way that that you can do with your sauce. It doesn't have to be a fresh sauce. You can still use the basting sauce, just boil it so it gets sanitized. Normally it takes us forever to get this grill on, or our old grill. So as you can see, it is pretty cloudy outside. I did hear some thunder in the distance, so I need to cook this right now. This grill, we got it like secondhand, but it was only used a couple times. So real quick, I have my calabaza. You can see there's a couple of fruits there, or vegetables growing. I have another one here, so a lot of calabaza growing. The cucumbers, I have not seen any like real big fruit yet. I did harvest a few of this bitter melon you can see over there. I have some bitter melon hanging. I found just one big one a couple days ago that just started to turn yellow, so I harvested that. I do have some powdery mildew there that I spray neem oil, and that works really well. So I need to buy some of that. And I did get a squash vine borer into this thing. I tried to kill it. I don't know if I killed it, but I have to buy some BT. I did use some neem oil injected in between there. I just don't know if it really killed it, but otherwise the plant is looking okay. It's kind of surviving for now. The squash here, on the other hand, does not look so good. I did pull out a couple of vine borers from each of them, but there might be still some more. I know the heat is really strong It's been 95 degrees for the past, this is like the third day. So like the squash is really taking its toll. I do have to water it. And behind that you can see I have some zinnias growing, and it does have the powdered mildew. I do need to spray that. My okra is really producing a lot. I have some okras that are too big. I have to cut that off. You're not supposed to let the okra get that long because it gets very woody. This is a tomato from my daughter's plant that she gave me during a plant sale in her school. I did cut back a lot. I just cut back maybe a couple days ago. The garden is really big. I have some eggplant. The eggplant is okay, but I think I'm going to have to put some fertilizer in them. They're not really getting that big. I think it needs a little fertilizer. And you can see it's just looking a little sad, just slightly sad. I think it's too hot right now. I have to water it, and the humidity is not doing a great job on my plants. This plant here, it's starting to die off, but you can see there's a lot of tomatoes on it. I'm just hoping it's going to ripen before this plant dies. And that's why I like to plant a little bit more resistant varieties. This one has produced a lot as well. I did harvest a lot of red tomatoes. Thankfully, because it's so hot, I think a lot of mosquitoes has died already. There's not too many right now where I'm standing. Normally they just start attacking me, but because it's been hot for so many days and there's really no source of rain, there's not any place for them to, lay their eggs or grow. So I'm going to show you the flowers now. I have several flowers that already has bloomed and it's done blooming, but this one, it is a late bloomer because it was fairly small when I planted the bulb, but it is a gorgeous color. This is the red gladiolus from the Dollar Tree. Same thing with here. These are all from the Dollar Tree. They're gorgeous. So they're really worth buying from the Dollar Tree. This is a zinnia that I planted from seed. And this is the one lone cone flower. And it lasted for a long time. It was gorgeous when the color was when it just bloomed. Excuse me. I'm getting bit by mosquitoes right now. And this is my yellow dinner plate dahlias. You can see they are pretty big. This is my hand right here. And the taller they get, the skinnier the flower is. But you can see this first bloom on this plant. Look how big it is. You can actually cut this when it's opening. I did cut some early on, and what happened was that it didn't fully bloom. So you have to make sure it's open enough before you cut it. Like this can be cut right now. This is a gorgeous zinnia. It's huge. I've never planted one of these large zinnias. It's the size of my palm right there. So that's pretty. You can also cut this. This does have some black spots on there as well. I have to spray more neem oil. And then my sunflower is starting to bloom. It's facing the other way, so it's kind of sad. I can't really see it, but hopefully as it gets bigger, it's gonna head my way. Another sunflower that's pretty big. I actually have two sunflowers that are the same as this in my front yard right now. And then I have the butterfly weed, you can see there. And then something that I started growing this year, this is bee balm. This is from the mint family. This took a long time for it to actually produce a flower. It did produce a flower. I think this was the first one. And so now it's starting to blossom. They're gorgeous. They're bright pink. And it's a nice bush. It's not as sturdy as I thought they would be. I have some variegated nasturtiums. I don't think I'll be growing any nasturtiums anymore because I don't have a lot of flowers on them. I have not been lucky on producing any flowers, and they're just taking up space. So it is starting to rain. The camera that I'm using now is not water friendly. I'm gonna have to take this in and just start using my phone just to take a few pictures as I cook the barbecue. I just flipped these over. These are taking a while to cook, and it started raining really, really heavy. That was kind of interrupting the barbecuing. Also, this grill is not as hot as our other grill. Our other grill is really burning hot. This one I put it to the highest setting, but it's still not reaching 350. So I just flipped them over and I'm just putting some sauce on the other side. I mean, it is cooking evenly, but not cooking fast enough. My mom did boil the sauce, so you can see it's a little thicker right now. But this temperature does need to go higher. And I'm just gonna finish basting these and then close the lid. Okay, so all the barbecue that I have here on the grill is done. They actually came out to be a really nice color. If I wanted to, I can kind of leave them on the grill a little bit longer, but I think I'm just gonna take it out now. I'm going to go ahead and try to cook the rest of the barbecue on the grill. Hopefully the rest of them, which is a good amount, can fit. But these look so good. And I hope there's going to be some extra for tomorrow. I have my setting on high. This looks like it's about low, so like about a quarter. This is half, and this looks like it's the max, so it looks like the heat is up there. I'm not used to this grill, so maybe that's why I think it's not that hot enough. But we're gonna try to squeeze in all of the barbecue that we have left. We're gonna baste these before closing the grill. At least I know they don't get burnt, so I can leave them for a while. I would say I'll leave them for like 10 minutes because it really took like almost half an hour to cook these. All right, so here's our barbecue. I took half of it and brought it back inside because it's time to eat. The other half is currently cooking, and so I have like maybe another 20 minutes to go for that batch. So this is the dinner. This is how we cook our Filipino barbecue. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And to accompany our barbecue tonight, we have a little bit of corn. We also eat the barbecue with rice. This is just how we roll. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.